Welcome back to another video from Winter Forest. Today let's continue our React using TypeScript. And today we are going to focus on functional components. In React world, we support two types of components. One is functional components, other type is called class components. And from React, from version 16.8, it supports React hook, so you actually can write everything in functional components and working with this customer hook, and that will be after class components explained. So now today's topic mainly focuses on function components. Here I have cleaned everything else. Last time we explained what is TypeScript, the basic type. Now we experience how to use this basic step to do our React. First, I'm going to create a function component. I'll put in another file and name it like a message. Since we are going to write a TypeScript, so the extension will be TSX. And I'm going to use a shortcut. So if you have this installed, EX7 React Redux GraphQL and this one installed, then if I type in here React RA stands for React FC function components, then I say type, and this will be generate a functional components for me. So the function components, if you don't look at this one, you see this is just pure JavaScript or function. It also called stateless components. Since we are writing TypeScript, and I see a lot of tutorials say you could say this return any, but what I expect you to write this return. We know this is a return functional components. Since we have error, so the hint, like the VS Code hint, also not very useful. Now if I don't have error, I can distract this out of functional components is an interface React provide for us. So what we expect this return, you know this is return function components. So I'm going to say this return of functional components. You could simply say hi, then these functional components won't be useful, and every time you also say the same hi, so it's not really useful. Normally you have pops. Since this is TypeScript, we actually expect and pops the message just in here. You see you will see error and message doesn't exist. And why? Because it's TypeScript. So actually I expect I'm going to receive an object, at least it have a message. This is distracted. So how I define this one, they have two ways. You could do use interface. And then you defined this is you have a message. Expect it is a string. And this you expect now instead directly just say you return function components. You also define this function signature. You expect it take the interface. Oh, sorry, I didn't define my interface the name. You expect this. Now you see you won't have an error. Because if, for example, if you have a message, also you have a title. And you could change it in here. You expect a string, and then you have maybe you have two div. One is for the h, and you have a title, and another one for the paragraph is for the message. Here shows A no is good because I'm typing no. Message, I think here I just mistyped. Message here, and so this is just a functional components. The difference between writing TypeScript and writing JavaScript, so you actually need to define these functions signature, the return, also the input. So this is what you, and they also have another way could define. Now we just try it since I export. So if I input this into my index in the app, now I could simply render the message. And if I finish it going to no, because this message type expect a title, and I just the title is from home, anything demo, and then we also expect a message. And what is the message? Just anything and hi, no, something. And I have a shortcut here is clean the window terminal. Then we simply run npm start. It will start in localhost 3000. Put on the side. I have cleaned everything else, but I keep the background. And this keep the app head, so it makes sure everything display in the page of the middle. So this is h1, and this is a hello from Sandy, and this just then render the message. So this is one way to write a function, define the type using interface. I would use this way to use the interface to define this signature, but they have another way. For example, if I create another call, like a car, and we create a functional components RA for React, FC for functional components. If I simply type it, give me this one. And you also instead just are going to have the signature and going to return functional components. You see, this also is interface input. If you see here, it actually is an interface, and it going to in here, it going to be the functional components. So I'm going to define this inside. I also have a title and a paragraph. And what I'm going to define this one, instead use the interface in here, you could use type. What I say use interface is better because the interface won't be only on here on the run. When you write the code, it will show this one, but it won't be compiled to JavaScript. So you find a builder, it actually is smaller. When going to the JavaScript, it won't have this interface built into it. But if you write the code now, it will stop you to build it. And but they have another way, but this one will be to the type check build to a JavaScript. It's called type, and then you call this cut pops. And this cut pops, what do you expect? and it is the signature of this functional components. So I put in here. What I put in here, it is what in here legit. And so if, for example, I also have a title, and it's a string, and also have a message. Maybe change it to another thing. Since the card, we call it a paragraph. And so in here, this one, and I also could have a title and a paragraph. Now I could simply also render an H1 in here. Now instead, so this one you see, it also didn't show any error and any warning. And we now use this card instead use the how about we just give a style. I'm going to render top and both over there. So you will see, and one is from the message, one is from this card. How about we also give a border. Then if I give a width 300 pixels. Normally you don't suggest right in here, but just identify you have a both. And if I go into also use the card in here, I expect paragraph. So it already showed the error if I didn't heard it. Did you see? So exactly this and same thing. The different is you use this one. This will come either in the runtime, it will build to a JavaScript tab. And but if you use the interface, it won't be part of a minimize JavaScript file. So your JavaScript file will be smaller. Normally, actually, people don't care about if it's smaller a little bit or bigger a little bit, but we need to know the different, especially if you are in the interview, people ask you. And just recap it. So when you write a function components, and we're going to have a return type is a function components, then followed by a type check. This type check is what you define in here is the signature of your functional components. So it also means and the parameter and the object in here you could pass in, and just look side by side and the card. So they have two ways you could do. Either way it is all good. So either you use interface or just use tab. You define a tab. The different tab will build when you run npm unbuild. This one will build to a JavaScript file. And the interface only when you write the code to type check, it won't build into your interface. And thank you for watching. My next topic is talk about the class components. And hope you like it. Please click subscribe and like. Thank you. Bye bye.